In this video, we will go over the first objective of section 4.4. Section 4.4 is about using data tables with percentages. The blank PDF of the note is posted on Canvas. I will go over page 1 and 2 in this video and come back and go over the 2A tables, objective 2 in my second video. This is for March 30th, Monday lesson. After this video, you should be able to try your 4.4 My Math Lab homework and your quiz 4. All right, let's take a look at number 1 together. We're going to fill in the blank in the following statement. I'm going to go ahead and do B first, just because this one is easier with adding, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and do A first, and then I will go ahead and go over A with you, okay? The retail cost of TV is 55% more than its wholesale cost. I typed this problem up. It's a very similar one as your March 30th attendance quiz. So you will see this one on the attendance quiz. Well, let me try again. The retail cost of a TV, the retail cost is 55% more than its wholesale cost. Go ahead and call the wholesale cost on X. So let's just call this X. Okay. If the retail cost is 55% more than the wholesale cost, the X, what I can do is I can say that the retail cost equals 55% more than is sold wholesale cost. So what I can write is X plus 55% of the X. That will be 0.55 times X, right? I can combine these two like terms, because notice this is really 1x plus 0.55x. I can combine it to 1.55x. So this is the retail cost in terms of X. And what I also know is that the wholesale cost, we already labeled it, is going to be X. So therefore, the retail cost is blank times the wholesale cost. So take a look at these two that I just found, 1.55x and X. Simply divide your retail cost by the wholesale cost. That's going to be 1.55x divided by X. Notice how X's just cancel out right there, right? So that's going to be 1.55. So your answer will be, therefore, the resale cost is 1.55 times the wholesale cost. Okay, now this one was adding because the keyword right here was more than, so I added it. Okay, now let's look at A together. The population of city A is, oh, look, 25% less than the population of city B. So I'm going to go ahead and say that the population of city B is X. I'll call population of city B X because I want to write the population of city A in terms of the population of city B. So the population of city A will be is 25% less than city B's population, right? So do X minus 25%, 0.25x. Now notice this is just another like term getting subtracted. If you do 1x minus 0.25x, that's going to be 0.75x. Now let's see what they want. So they want you to say that so city A's population is blank percent of city B's. So what I need to do is A over B times 100, right? Because they want the percent. I'm going to multiply by 100. But when they said of city B, remember the part that comes after of is going to be your denominator. So I'm going to say A over B. That's why B is in the bottom of the fraction. All right, let's plug in everything we know. A is what? A is 0.75x. B is X. see, multiply that by 100. You'll notice that x cancels out, and you're left with 0.75 times 100. Oopsies, I missed the 100. Times 100. Then the answer is going to be 75%. So city A's population is 75% of city B's. That's what we can say. Very similar to what we did last week with the growth factor, and what was it called? The decay rate, those things. But kind of still applying those same ideas. So hopefully you're okay with number 1. Let's look at 2. Clint's salary increased from $23,000 to $34,500 over a 3-year period. Helen's salary increased from $27,000 to $45,500 over the same period. Whose salary increased more in absolute term? Let me answer that part first. Absolute term. Remember how to find the absolute difference. You just have to subtract. So let me do the Clint first. Clint. I'm going to say the new value minus the original. So this is going to be new minus the original. New is $34,500. The old or the original amount that he used to get paid 3 years ago was that. So let me go ahead and subtract 34,500 minus 23,000. That's gonna be 11,500. So that's how much is making more. That's the salary increase in 3 year for Clint. Let's do Helen's. Let's do new minus original. The new amount that she's getting paid is 40,500. Subtract the original amount that she used to get paid 3 years ago, 27,000. All right, let me subtract on my calculator. 4,500 minus 27,000. I got 13,500. So in absolute term, whose salary increased more? Helen's. Helen's salary increased more in absolute term. All right, now we're going to move on to something else now, right? What about in relative term? Let me change my color. What about in relative term? Remember how to find the relative difference. It was going to be that absolute difference divided by the original amount, right? So kind of a review of what we did last week. Clint's relative term is going to be, what we just subtracted, right? 34,500 minus 23,000. And remember, we always divide by what we are subtracting here, the original amount. And then if you want to write it as like a percent, you can multiply that by 100. So that's going to be 11,500 divided by 23,000 times 100. Let me go ahead and type this in on my calculator. 11,500 divided by 23,000 times 100. Oh, what did you guys get? I got 50. So Clint's salary increased 50%. Awesome. All right, what about Helen's? All right, so we're going to have to subtract on the numerator, the new minus the original, what we already did above in blue pen, right? Remember, we're dividing this amount by Helen's original salary, 27,000, and then we're going to multiply this by 100. So that's going to be 13,500 divided by 27,000 times 100. 13,500 divided by 27,000. And then you have to multiply this by 100. Oh, what did you guys get? I got 50 again. So what will you say? In relative terms, well, they got the same salary increase. I'll just say same increase in what term? Relative term. So I think your homework problem is going to be very similar. Absolute term, one person is going to have a bigger salary increase, but when you take a look at the relative term, they're going to be exactly the same. All right, so that was interesting. Let's keep going. I got number 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Ooh. All right, let's try. Number 3, the percentage of people accessing the internet increased from 63% in 2000 to 85% in 2012. Complete part A and B below. Describe the change as absolute change. Now, the same thing, right? Absolute change, all you need to do is just subtract in terms of percentage points. So I know they said percentage points. The percentage may kind of throw you off here, but they just want you to use these numbers, the percentage numbers, and find the absolute change. So you still just subtract. So for absolute change, you do new minus the original, right? The new is 85 minus the original is 63. So 85 minus 63 is 22. So what you can say is that the percentage of people accessing the internet increased by 22 percentage points. You cannot say 22%. You have to say 22 percentage points because we're kind of treating these 85 and 63 as the points, just the numbers. So do 85 minus 63 for the absolute change. But remember, for this one, we're going to have to do something a little different, right? Describe the change as a relative change. And we're going to do the exact same formula as we did on the Helen and Clint salary problem. Well, we subtract new minus the original. Then we're going to divide by the original, right? You want to convert this into percent, so do multiply that by 100. So just kind of reviewing that same formula that you used in 4.3. But this is good because you guys are going to have a quiz this week. So this will be very helpful. All right, so let's subtract on the numerator. New minus the original, 85 minus 63. And then divide that by the original amount of 63. Multiply that by 100. So that's going to give you 22 divided by 63 times 100. 22 divided by 63. And then if I multiply that by 100, I might have to round this a little bit though, guys, because it came out to be 34.92. So I'm just going to go ahead and round. Well, I'll say 34.92. And how did they want you to round? Round to the nearest tenth as needed. So let's round this to 34.9. So what we can say is the percentage of people accessing the internet increased by 34.9%. So it looks bigger. It is bigger to use this relative change in this case compared to the absolute change where we simply subtracted. But just the main point here was just knowing the difference between the absolute change and the relative change. Okay? All right, let's practice a couple more. Between 2000 and 2010, in 10 years, the percentage of households with cordless phones increased by 11% to 90%. Oh, so what percentage of households had cordless phone in 2000? So here's the thing. What I just boxed is actually usually the answer that we find, right? Using the formula, new minus original, divided by original times 100. So that's the formula that we use to figure out that answer, 11.1. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that equal to 11.1. But we do know one more number, 90% in what year? In 2010, right? What we don't know is the original amount in 2000. So we're missing original. Let me call that X, okay? So let's fill in everything we know here. I'm going to say new minus original turns into 90 minus original X. And I'm going to divide that by the original amount of, well, X again, times 100 will give you 11.1. Let's solve that. I'm going to go ahead and, you know what, let me just write it down one more time, okay? So that I can work over here. Oh no, x looks like a multiplying now. So I'm just going to draw this multiplying as like a dot. Okay, now let's solve for x. First, let's go ahead and divide both sides by 100 so that I don't have this awkward looking multiplying by 100 on the left side. 90 minus x over x is equal to, if you do 11.1 divided by 100, you're just moving the decimal place 2 to the left, right? So that's going to be 0.111. Now remember how we solve something like this. We're going to multiply both sides by x. So you'll get 90 minus x equals 0.111x. So what I just did, let me write it down. I multiply both sides by x so that this x just cancels out. Doop, doop. Alrighty, let's solve this equation. I can add x to both sides, right? I can add, now what kind of x? This is 1x. I'm adding x to both sides. Then what I'm going to get is I'm going to get 90 equals, if you do 1 plus 0.111, you're going to get 1.111x. Now almost done. Let's divide both sides by 1.111. What's that going to be? 90 divided by 1.111 is equal to approximately 81.008100 . But I'm just going to round that up to what? 81%. So about 81% of households had cordless phones in 2000. And if you increase that by 11%, that's a relative change. Let me make that clear. Relative change. And then it's going to be 90%. Now, we're not doing 81 plus 11.1 here, because that will be, if they wanted you to do it that way, they should have mentioned the word percentage point. But because they said increase by 11%, we had to use that formula for relative change. And that was a little bit of algebra, but I'm sure you can do that. All right, 2 more. Diner free, and now remember, this is going to be another homework problem. No. The attendance quiz problem, so pay close attention, okay? Diners frequently add 15% tip when charging a meal to a credit card. What is the price of the meal without tip if the amount charged is $13.80? And then the second question is, how much was the tip? Okay, so let me write something down that will make sense. Meal price plus tip amount. Oh, hold on. Meal price. What am I doing? Meal price plus the tip amount is how much? They said $13.80, right? They said, what is the price of the meal without the tip? If the amount charged, the total amount charged was $13.80. And what we know is that the tip is just going to be 15% of the meal price. So let me call the meal price X. Let's call this X. That's what I want to find. The tip amount, though, tip is going to be simply 15% of the meal, right? So write that as 0.15x. That is 15% of x. And that's equal to 13.80. Now notice x plus 0.15x is really just adding like terms. 1x plus 0.15x is 1.15x. Add like terms. So the right side, we're going to have 1380. Now, what do you do to both sides? We're just going to divide both sides by 1.15. If I do that, I will be able to find what x is. And what does x stand for? How much the meal is without tip. So 13.80 divided by 1.15 is going to be exactly $12. So what I know is without the tip, the meal just came out to be $12. All right, now they said, how much was the tip? Now remember, the meal plus tip equals $13.80, right? Now we just found out that the meal cost was $12. So how much is the tip? If you want to find that, you can simply subtract the total amount minus $12, right? So tip is going to be $1.80. Now double check this. Check your answer right here. Find the 12% times $12 times 15%. We want that to equal 180, right? 12 times 15% is going to be 1.8, and that matches, so we know that amount is good. $1.80 is the tip, and if you add them back together, you will get $13.80. Okay? Now this is fun. This is fun. Oh, this is the last one now. All right, after this last example, I will come back and go over how to do these two-way table problems, okay? All right, number 6, answer the question about the following quote from a news source. Round to the nearest tenth as needed. The unemployment rate has risen more than a percentage point to 8.8% in February from 7.1% last November. What is the relative change in the unemployment rate expressed as a percentage? Oh, okay. Now, these are giving you the percentage points, right? So, let's call from 7.1. This will be your original. That's the starting amount. And then to 8.8, this is going to be the new. They want you to find the relative change. And you do know the relative change formula. That's going to be new minus original divided by original. And let's multiply that by 100. Notice all these problems are using the same exact formula, but then the wordings are just a little bit different, so you just have to be very careful looking for what you need, okay? All right, let's plug in everything we know. New is 8.8% minus, and now listen, I'm treating these percentages as just the points, percentage points. So I'm just not gonna write the percentage symbols, just like I'm not really writing, let's say, like the dollar signs when I'm doing the amount of money in some of these problems. Or I guess I just never use these percentage symbols because they're just percentage points. I'm just treating them as numbers, okay? 8.8 minus what? 7.1, and you divide that by the original amount of 7.1, and you multiply that by 100. All right, let's see. 8.8 minus 7.1 equals 1.7. If you divide 1.7 by 7.1, and then you multiply that by 100, what do you get? Oh, we got 23.9. So the unemployment rate has risen 23.9, and this number right here, what we got, the relative change that we just got, looks much bigger than when they just simply use the percentage point. So, you know, if somebody wants to make this change not that serious, then they should just use the percentage point. But in relative change, you know, from what we had in what year? In November, last November, I mean, this rate has risen like over 20%. This is going to be big. So, you know, this is an example where we use the two different types of changes, like relative change and absolute change, and these two come out to be, you know, very different. They're telling different stories. Hopefully that helps you with the first half of the homework. But I hope you guys get the access back to My Math Lab soon, because I know that wasn't working last night and not even this morning. So I'm gonna go back and add extensions on your week. What was it? Week 9? Let me see. I think it was week 9 assignments. So I'll do that. Many of you emailed me already and I wrote you back. But as soon as I get my access back, because I can't even access anything right now, I will make sure to add extensions on your week 10 homework. And that was the budget Excel homework, 4.2 and 4.3 My Math Lab homework. But if you don't see the extension added, that just probably means that I didn't get into my Math Lab account just yet, okay? But please come back for the other exciting objective, the using two-way tables. in a couple minutes. All right, thank you.